we're hoping for 28, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what the team is working toward.
Imagine being able to take your eyes and hands off the wheel, go through your work emails, watch your favorite TV show, maybe grab lunch. Gemini coming out next year, right? So you will be able to talk to your vehicle.
It's going to be able to even alert you before something happens so you can take care of it.
This is Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors, one of the most powerful people in the automotive world and the woman leading the transformation of how humanity moves.
This is becoming a robot, and eventually you can see a world where it's acting on your behalf fully autonomously.
AI is changing everything. It's no longer just a car. It's an assistant that might know you better than anyone. So the real question is, are we ready for it? Mary, thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited to host you on Silicon Valley Girl.
I'm really excited to be on Silicon Valley Girl and have a chance to talk to you and tell you what's going on at General Motors.
Oh yeah, I'm a proud owner of a Cadillac Escalade. It was one of the first with the Super Cruise. I was dying to get it, so we had to go to LA because Bay Area was sold out. Went to LA, got it, and we've been driving it since. It's such a good investment, especially when you have technology mixed with quality, right? Because you still want to feel good in your car. Today, you presented a lot of new updates. Let's imagine it's 2030. I'm in my new Escalade. What is the experience like?
Well, I think one of the things is it's still going to be very personalized, and we think we can continue to advance the vehicle. We talked about adding the Google Assistant. We'll follow up with our own assistant that's much more integrated into the vehicle, leveraging vehicle data, get to know you, know the vehicles, so that it can even be a more customized experience. And then when you think about what we can do from an autonomy perspective, we shared that we'll start with highway autonomy, where you can literally take your eyes off the road. And then we'll continue to expand that into urban locations. And, by 2030, I'm kind of done making predictions as it relates to autonomy, because I think it is one of the hardest challenges from a technological perspective. But I think we're going to make advancements like we do today with Super Cruise. And we'll make those advancements once we have eyes off from a highway perspective. And so in 2030, I think, people are going to see that their vehicle allows them to lead a much more integrated life, that the vehicle makes their life easier, makes them more efficient, gives them back some time.
All right, welcome to the new Cadillac Escalade. That's the driving experience of 2028, when you don't have to look out and watch the cars. You don't have to put your hands on the wheel. You just go, have your TV screen here, catch up on your emails. This is what I'm waiting for. And also because I always have my kids in the back, right? I can just pass things, I can talk to them, and the car will be driving by itself. Oh my goodness. I love the screen situation. I love that now we have a full-scale TV section here. There's a screen for the passenger. The seats are almost identical to what I have now with the sound system here. They have the purse section right here so you can put your bag. It's big. The charger, everything's electric. The steering wheel is, again, very similar to what I have. This is the technology. I think this is where they track your eyes and your hands. I cannot wait till 2028 to start driving this vehicle. I love how the Cadillac is this mix of technology and luxury, because we have very smart vehicles in the market, but they don't feel like luxury. This feels beyond luxury. The blue stitches, all the details. It feels like it's a car from the future because of the design, but also they maintain the classic design, adding all the details. Another fascinating use case that I got from the presentation is that imagine something's wrong with the vehicle and you need to take it to service. Now, ideally, in 2028, your vehicle detects the problem by itself because it's AI powered. Second, it knows when you need the car. So in the time when you don't need the car, it will just take itself to the service center, get serviced, come back to your house for you to be ready to move. How do you look at competition? Because there are already companies that are doing full autonomy. What do you think about that, about this gap?
Well, I think if you look at who's doing full autonomy, it's in the robotaxi arena.
Yeah.
And so that's and generally in a very concise ODD, even if it's in different cities. It's
What's ODD?
Operating an operating area.
Oh, got it. So it's like, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I think when you look at, we're talking about something much more broad on highways at speed and then moving into urban. So I think when we look at it from a personal autonomous, it's going to, we think we'll be among the leaders in doing that and doing that safely. Understand what the robotaxis are doing, but it is different than when you get into personal autonomy, and you have to integrate back and forth between I'm driving the vehicle and I'm responsible to the vehicle is taking control. It's actually a much more complex system to solve.
Gemini coming out next year, right? So you will be able to talk to your vehicle. You'll be able to ask, like, where's the nearest, whatever. We don't need gas stations, but the nearest service, etc. What is the most compelling use case that you've seen with Gemini? Like, what makes it stand out?
Well, I think when you look at AI and the fact that, you can, it's not just, play the latest Taylor Swift song, which I'm a Swiftie, so love. But it can be much more of, hey, I'm headed here. Can you route me on the way? I'd like to stop and get, a coffee at my favorite coffee shop. Or, hey, I'm kind of hungry. I'm not familiar with this area. Where's the best place for me to get a turkey sandwich? Kind of thing. I mean, you can just ask it, like, my favorite food is X, and it can help integrate that and make sure you're going to the best restaurant. So it's going to take all that information, and it's going to be able to do that as we get further along. It's going to be able to even integrate more and know how the systems in the vehicle are working and alert you before something happens so you can take care of it. So I think it's going to be a journey, from what we have today to what we'll have with Google, and then the further integration with General Motors. We'll even be able to pull more information from the vehicle to make it even more personalized.
I'm excited about AI in vehicles. So you're going to integrate with Gemini. And I have a question from the user standpoint. Is it the same Gemini I have in my phone? Does it have information about me? Or is it a specific Gemini for the vehicle that is not connected to me as a person?
Okay, good question. So today we talked about almost like two timelines, actually. One is going to be, you might already heard this from Google as well, which we are closely partnering with. Google Assistant is going to evolve and become Google Gemini in the vehicles. So therefore, that's going to be where the journey starts. So that's going to be the first upgrade. The second thing is, in addition, in parallel, we're working on developing our own assistant that is for GM by GM. We will use, of course, providers who are already providing large language models. We're not going to be in the business of developing a frontier model or a foundation model. We will build on top of technologies, but we're not ready yet to disclose what backend we're going to be using. But our goal with that GM assistant is to build something that is deeply contextually aware. Because I think we all know this. Contextual AI is where the magic is going to unlock. Now we can get nerdy. We're talking about Silicon Valley here, where we will design a system where our assistant, our agent, will be able to talk to other agents. Because the world you're describing is exactly that, right? Because you are going to have this graceful handoffs. You're going to say, hey, I'm in New York. Look at the next 3 flights available. The AI should learn you prefer to fly, let's say, with United. It should talk to the United agent and say, oh, here's the 3 flights that you might want to. So that's the goal. What we want to create a Uber agent, an Uber assistant that is the GM assistant that can broker those type of interactions.
Love it. Let's imagine 2050.
Okay. Wow.
What driving looks like with AI. Let's be super futuristic.
Sure.
Because you're building this, right? You probably are thinking about those days. Okay, what is your wildest?
2050, when is that? So it's 25 years from now on? So like we talked about earlier today, the level of autonomy, I think, is going to continue to increase. I think Mary even alluded to it in her presentation today, where we will reach a world where the car would be doing things even without you in the car, where it could run errands on your behalf, where it could take itself to be car washed and serviced and change the tires. So I think 25 years is a long time, and I reserve to be wrong, and thank God it's such a long time.
Well, will we get this earlier? Something you described. It's already, feels like it's a possibility now.
Again, it's possible. I think it's all, now we can actually, again, get a little bit nerdy around like the diffusion of innovation, right? It's not equally distributed, right? We are experiencing that today. However, maybe the economics are not there yet for it to be mass scale, right? They're in pockets, right? The robotaxi experience. Those are expensive cars to build with those sensor sets. But in 25 years, one could imagine the sensors get cheaper, the AI models we use get smarter, so therefore the world where we're seeing the car truly, fully autonomously behaving on your behalf, I think will be real in 25 years.
The actual robot that we're going to have in our household,
correct.
right?
Exactly. I mean,
Just
that's,
the ones
it's one of the robots, right? This is I think Sterling said this well. This is a purpose-specific robot that provides you mobility. We are going to have purpose-specific robots, right? We are going to have probably humanoids in our house helping with home chores. We will have quote-unquote robots maybe helping with education. And yes, this is becoming a robot, and eventually you can see a world where it's acting on your behalf fully autonomously.
Wow. Okay, flying cars?
Why not?
And when it comes to technology, so I asked one of my friends who's also working on self-driving. I'm like, when will be the year when I can just put my kids in the car and the car will take them to school? When do you think this is coming? And is it available right now from the technology perspective? Because you said from technology perspective, we can do it now. It's just a regulation.
Well, I think right now we do have a patchwork of regulation. We're hoping for one federal regulation because I think that will unlock autonomous technology. I think a lot of it, being a mother myself, although my children are adults now, is looking at, when is the right time to do that. So I think, from a technology perspective, we'll get there. And then it's going to have to be a judgment piece of how old is your child, where are they going, all of that. And so, we're on our way to get there. I think we'll get to a point. I think we need to get to full, as we start with L4 highway, obviously, you're still in the urban areas going to need to take responsibility for driving. So I think that'll happen over time.
So when we're driving, right now, the vehicle is watching us and it's seeing like my eye movements and everything. Is it like surveillance? Like, does it read my conversation? Like, what happens if the government wants to take my data? Like, the privacy issue?
And this is where, we have a new, over a year now, a privacy officer that is working across the organization, helping people understand. We want to make sure we're following all the privacy requirements. And, a lot of the information we feel is the customer. So the customer has to give the company permission, even if we're going to use it from an anonymized perspective. So everything we do will be with a focus on privacy and security, and then also cybersecurity. So that we have dedicated people in the company that focus on making sure we understand the laws and that we're following all of them. And even more so, doing what we think consumers would want us to do.
Mary brought up something that couldn't be more relevant today: privacy. And the truth is, AI already knows more about me than I realize. It knows what I buy, what I search for, how I move, sleep, and work. We rarely stop to think where all that information actually goes, or who might have access to it. Can you imagine that in just a few years, even my car will probably know everything about me, what time I leave home, how often I call my mom, because I call her almost every day when I'm driving. And with home robots now starting to appear, they'll soon have a window into every detail of family life. As technology and AI keep evolving, I can see that people are becoming much more aware of how their data is used and who they trust with it. Very soon, the companies that handle privacy responsibly will be the ones people choose to stay with. Because trust is no longer just a nice to have. It's becoming the foundation of every relationship between users and brands. According to research from User-Centrics, 62% of consumers feel they've become the product. 77% don't understand how their data is handled. And 73% will stop buying from brands they don't trust with their data. This isn't theoretical. It's consumer behavior that impacts your bottom line. That's where CookieBot CMP comes in. It's an automated consent management solution designed for exactly this problem. It automatically scans your website, identifies every cookie and tracker, classifies them by purpose, and manages user consent at scale. CookieBot is Google certified and automatically updates when regulations change. It covers CCPA/CPRA, e-privacy, and more. If you care about your users and don't want to lose your place in this highly competitive world, consider trying CookieBot by User-Centrics. CookieBot easily integrates with popular site builders like WordPress, Shopify, and Wix, helping you stay compliant and build trust with your audience. And just for my viewers, there's an extra bonus. You can get 15% off for 6 months if you sign up using the special link in the video description. Thanks to User-Centrics for sponsoring this video. And now back to our conversation with Mary. The next step is taking your eyes off
Right,
the
and
road.
that is what we're going to be delivering in the 28 timeframe with first from a highway perspective. So that will happen, and then we'll keep advancing that and get to urban, et cetera. So that's coming in the not too distant future. It's really right around the corner.
We're hoping for 28, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what the team is working toward. And, when I look at what we've been able to build with all of the resources we have from a software perspective, and then what we had from the team that's done Super Cruise, along with the cruise resources, bringing them all together, then they're doing it right now. So that's what makes me really excited.
What we announced today is an eyes-off autonomy capability. Nothing of that sort exists in the market today. And when you think about that, you're basically asking the driver to take your eyes off, not pay attention at all on the road. That's a very, very high bar. And for us to safely maneuver different conditions that we spoke about here in the demo, we need sensor redundancies to be built in so that the car can handle very complex scenarios in all weather conditions without requiring human intervention. Like, human intervention cannot be a backup. That cannot be a safety valve, and we're not going to use it. So we are going.
So even if something's going on, there won't be a situation where the car just flashes red and like take over. So you're excluding that?
So we will have situations where when the car is exiting its operational domain. So the product right now will launch with highways only. So you'll only be able to use this product when you're on the highway. When you're off the highway, this product will not be available. And so when you're on the highway, you can use it, but as you are going to come to an exit, we will ask you to take over the control.
You have 3 different systems, right? You have LiDAR, you have cameras, and you have a radar. Can you talk to me about the difference between the 3 systems?
Yeah, so what we wanted to share here is that how the different sensors come together to provide a 360-degree continuous information to our driving system so that it enables it to make splits or even fraction of a second decisions. It can see further, react faster than a human would ever and can work in all weather conditions.
When do you think the full autonomy is coming?
I think we're going to keep approaching that. And as Sterling talked about, Sterling Anderson, who is our chief product officer, we're going to keep working and making sure we do that safely. So you'll see incrementally that we'll keep adding from the area in which you can do it to the complexity of the environment. So I learned, I first started making predictions about autonomy back in 2016. So as I look now, we're going to put it into the vehicle as soon as it's ready and it can be deployed safely. And that's what will be the gating factor.
Safety is the main concern right now.
Safety is something, General Motors has a rich history of having that relationship of trust with our consumer, that they know we put a lot of thought into our systems being safe. And so we want to put that same level of prioritizing safety that we have done in Super Cruise into as we get to L4 highway, and then we'll expand from there.
And Super Cruise, you mentioned 700 million miles.
Yes,
no accidents.
Correct.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. Well, we know vehicles, and we've really looked to make sure that the technology is well validated. So we're very proud of our safety record, and we work to continue to get better every day and give more features like trailering and integration with Google Maps. So there's new features and new roads being added to Super Cruise all the time.
So we talked about AI transforming the driving experience. Mm-hmm. How is it transforming the production?
Well, I think we're leveraging, I think it's such an interesting time right now when you look at the power of artificial intelligence, and we're focusing on the main areas in the business of how do we use it to improve manufacturing. Sterling Anderson talked about one of the things that General Motors has that is unique is all of this information and data of how things are manufactured. And I think when you look at that and the power of data to really help advance AI, we're in a unique position to make our manufacturing processes more efficient, serve our operators better. When we think about designing the vehicle, looking at the areas that right now people are doing, how do we make it more efficient and allow our engineers to really focus on optimizing technology, safety, it allows us to do more validation. There's so much from that perspective. And then from how we go to market, imagine leveraging artificial intelligence to really understand the customer better and reach that customer in a more focused way so they get the information they want. There's been so much advancement in that space as well. And then lastly, what I would say is also putting the tools in the hands of our employees. One of the things I've encouraged everyone at the company to do is become familiar with it, because it's easy to kind of be a little bit wary of it if you don't understand it. Once you use it, I think it really, and I make sure I'm constantly using it, even in my daily life, unrelated to work, to just see the power of it. Because once you use it for this, and you're like, oh, I can use it for this. It's, one of the things my daughter does that I think is so interesting. She's going to college to get her master's degree, and she'll be like, I'd like a shopping list with, I'm gluten-free, with, I need it to be healthy. I want it to be this level of calories, and I don't want it to have too many different things that I have to buy. So give me the recipes for a week.
Yeah.
And boom. And she's like, Mom, it's really good and it really works.
What's your favorite use case?
Just the other day, I've been having some shoulder pain. And so I got the test results. And of course, I get it now on the portal before you have anything back from your doctor. I put it into, this time I used ChatGPT, and it came back and it's like, yeah, you've got a tendon that's inflamed. And of course, it's my mother who passed away many years ago, but she always used to tell me to sit up straight. And some of it is some of my soreness is because of posture. I'm like, okay, my mom, I've got to listen to you. I've got to sit up straight. But I mean, I think I never before I would have waited, to hear from the doctor. And I was able to go in and understand what it is and understand what I need to do to alleviate it. So, I mean, just a couple of years ago, you would have had to wait for the doctor. So, and then, there's the easy one of, I look in the fridge, what do we have? Okay, give me something interesting to make.
Picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a really good point. Take a picture even more. So then saying, I have this, this, and this.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I do that all the time. What about work processes? What have you optimized with AI for you personally?
For me, I think it's how do I, write much more quickly when I'm writing an email, or how do I get information if I want to learn something about a new technology? Just asking the question. So boom, I get the information. I can read it, as opposed to having to send it to someone else. Say, hey, can you give me a summary of this? So I mean, just so much more information is digestible. Is given back to you in a very digestible format. I'm using it several times a day, and then also again how I do my work.
Let's get back to factories and workers. If somebody wants to someone who's inspired by your journey when you started working for GM when you were 18 and now you're the CEO, if somebody wants the same journey and they're thinking, you know what, entry-level jobs being replaced with AI, and how do I repeat this journey in the current environment? What would be your advice?
Well, first of all, if you want to be in the auto industry, I mean, I would make sure that you get into the core of the business. Joining to work as a manufacturing person in our company, I started as an engineer working in a plant, knowing how and from when I started over 40 years ago to now, there's so much has advanced in the plants, but understanding what it takes to put a car on the road with high quality, to do it efficiently with an engaged workforce, I think that's so important. So I always encourage people, whatever industry you're excited about, make sure you're in the core of it. You're in how we design vehicles, all the software, how we make vehicles, how we go to market. In an industry you're excited about, go in and join a company and really immerse yourself in where they are today. So many people who are graduating from college or, coming in with certificates they have so much knowledge already from the way technology, they leveraged it to go through their schooling at whatever level they are. You bring all that and you can immediately say, hey, here's how I can make it better. I was talking a couple years ago of an employee who joined the company, and it was in our finance area. And he had got a job, and he said, yeah, I was able to use these tools I used from college and able to take what was usually going to take 3 days, and I could do it in 3 hours. I think what somebody who's starting their career, they have to realize, they really have a lot of knowledge in the way they learn to do work that they can bring into the workplace. And that's what we're trying to do right now across many functions of, for instance, in human resources. How do we take some of the things that a human resource professional needs to do, that is, getting the data in the right place and getting that information, getting that done more effectively with AI, so that person can have more of a high touch with the people that are in the area that he or she is supporting. Those are things I think we can do. That human connection is going to become more important, and the quality of it, because the person isn't spending all the time doing some of the more routine things. That they can really understand that person better, understand the process better, work for higher quality. I think it's really going to advance.
What are the personal traits that you're looking for when hiring?
I think you have to have someone who is passionate about what they do. I also would say, a high quality person, integrity, work hard.
But then high quality person.
Yes. Somebody who is willing to come in and work hard and wants to learn and, understands that. One of the things I talk about at GM, we're going to do the right thing even when it's hard. And integrity is such an important piece of it. We talk at General Motors, winning with integrity, because if you win without it, you really haven't won. Yeah. And so people who are aligned with the company's values, but are passionate about the work, willing to work hard, and curious that they want to learn, because technology is advancing in any industry. It's advancing so quickly that if you don't have a learning mindset and a curiosity to how can I make this better? Or I want to go learn about that. I think that to me is what's going to separate and empower people to do things and have careers that we can't even imagine right now.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night in AI age?
Yes. Of course. I think it's so important to adopt artificial intelligence and all technology responsibly and do it well. But I think as we go forward, companies that say, hey, I'm going to wait, I'll sit this lap out, I'll see how it goes, I think you're going to be so far behind. So to me, it's making sure, are we doing the right things, and are we really engaging our workforce and empowering them, as opposed to them being weary of it. I think that's a big piece that we're doing. I feel good about the strategy we have, and we've been adaptable. The world is changing dramatically, and in the auto industry, from a regulatory perspective, from a supply chain perspective, from a consumer perspective.
What people are expecting from a vehicle now, right?
Exactly.
Because everything is smart suddenly.
It is. Yeah. So I think I have a healthy paranoia about that to make sure we're on the cutting edge. I send a lot of emails to my team or see them and say, what are we thinking about this? Or have you thought about this? Or are we aware of this? And 9 times out of 10, or I should say 99 times out of 100, yes, we're on it. We're already doing that. But I'm going to keep asking those questions because I think it's so important. And I think General Motors is an iconic company, and I want to make sure it's here 100 years from now. Yeah. And the only way we're going to do that is by making sure we leverage and, embrace technology responsibly.
When everything's going on, when you're looking at everything happening, what helps you stay grounded and stay focused?
Oh, gosh.
Any rituals?
For me, obviously I work hard, but my family, I'm blessed. I've been married for 40 years to my husband. We met in college, and so just I think what grounds me and what re-energizes me is spending time with my family and friends.
Is there certain limit that you say, I spend weekends with my family, evenings are for family? Do you have something like that?
I think you have to be more flexible, but one of the things I try to do, and I try to make sure I'm pretty much up to, have everything done as I kind of close the laptop on Friday evening. And then I try to not be, glued to my phone or my computer on Saturday, just to get a chance to recharge. And then usually Sunday afternoon, I'm starting to prepare for the next week. But I find that time, just even, if it's a half a day or a day, to take that breath, it recharges me to think about things differently. And, literally when I get back to something, I'll be like, oh, you know what? I'll look at it and I'll see something, different, or I'll look at it from a different perspective that I think allows me to be more effective. And I encourage people to find what recharges them. But I think in today's age, there's things that are happening so quickly. You can't just say, oh, Friday afternoon to Monday morning, I'm never going to look. It's just, I don't think it's the world we're living in.
So you still have to compromise. Mm-hmm. You have to work.
But you do, I would say on the flip side, you do have to make sure you're finding that way that you recharge, or you're, one of the things as a working mom, somebody gave me really great advice and said, sometimes the most urgent, or often the most urgent, is not the most important.
That's 100% true.
And
most of the time.
Right. And so you have to, step back and say, am I constantly letting what appears to be the most urgent take me away that I'm never doing what's the most important.
Yeah.
Because I know you have 2 young little girls. Is it
Yeah.
Lily and Emily?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Precious. They're little, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we just got a puppy for them. So
Oh my gosh, what kind of puppy did you get?
a toy poodle.
Oh my God, we have a dog, Hunter, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
I think such an important part of the family as well.
Mm.
But I mean, I think your children grow up quickly, and you don't get a do over. So I also, as a
Yes.
working mom, there's times in my career where I did what some people would say were crazy things to make sure I was at that soccer game or at that hockey game, and then was still able to get my work done. So I look back and I'm glad I made those investments and trade-offs.
That's great. And what about your relationship with your husband? 40 years, that's a lot. And I need tips, especially when, you have this job and you're traveling all the time. What's the best tip that you can give for women who are trying to build their career, but also be a good wife?
Well, I'm really fortunate that my husband and we kind of build our careers together, and he's an engineer with an MBA and worked in consulting much of his career, and so he understands the business really well. And he can be a great sounding board. He's also a great supporter. So I'm very fortunate to have a husband who, I feel like it's a partnership, and I'm really proud of everything he's accomplished. He's proud of me, and but we also we can give each other good quality feedback, and sometimes we need it.
Support system. That's awesome.
Yes.
I know it's hard to choose your favorites, but what's your favorite GM car?
Yeah, that is really hard for me because I had the opportunity to run global product development, so I felt like every vehicle in the portfolio played such a special role. I would say, though, right now I love driving a Hummer EV.
Oh my God, that car.
I love driving that vehicle. Well, it's got 4-wheel steer, so it's so maneuverable.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I'm driving a Hummer EV, I get some respect. People are like, hey.
I definitely saw those looks, but when you gave me the car for like a week to drive around, people still come down like, a girl.
Yeah.
Definitely
Right.
got those looks. That's awesome.
But I'm also a big fan of Corvettes. So, I love the styling, the speed, and the heritage. And one of the things that makes Corvette so special is it's true American, it's affordable, it's a Chevrolet. But, people come to me now and they'll say like, oh my gosh, Mary, this vehicle is as good as a vehicle that is 3 times as expensive. Like, really, General Motors has cracked the code on this type of performance. So that's always rewarding.
Yeah. And I have a weird question, but you're the person to ask it.
Okay.
Flying cars.
There's some physics involved in that. There's companies working on vertical takeoff type of vehicles. I would never say never because I think we're innovating and new technologies are coming every day. But I think right now I'm going to stay on the road.
Yeah. Just, is it because of the technology, or just what I'm thinking, like, do I want to drive and then have a couple more layers of cars above me? That from the safety standpoint, that's weird. If somebody crashes, then it's
right. Well, I think about that today with all that's happening with drones. And so, and how the government, FAA is managing airspace and about what levels. So like I said, I never say never because I think we'll continue to advance. I grew up watching the Jetsons. So who knows what we'll see in the future. But I think there's challenges like you're talking from, who gets what space. And I think there's some technology challenges, but I think in the future, probably, people will solve those challenges.
Thank you so much, Mary. It was such a great conversation.
Thank you. And thanks for the time you've invested in spending in our vehicles. I'm glad that you love your Escalade.
The best time. I love my Escalade. I enjoyed the Vistic, the Hummer, and Buick. Because the Super Cruise, I'm like, the Buick can now go by itself. I didn't expect that.
Yes, Buick has been growing from a share perspective, and I'm really proud of because it really stands for premium luxury for someone who maybe doesn't want what Cadillac stands for of true luxury. And I'm so proud of that. I'm proud of that brand and how the product portfolio is really continuing to gain share and conquest customers for us, which is wonderful.
When we got the Buick, my daughter entered it and she was like, is that a Maybach?
Oh my God.
So,
I like her.
Yeah.
And I saw her review of the Vistic. It was precious. Thank you.
Thank you so much. She loves it. Thanks a lot.
Good.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.